Okay, I've got it. All right, we're ready to begin. Thanks, Christina, for joining us, and hopefully we might get some other parents on as well. My name is Steve. I'm the Executive Director of Imagination Theater. Demi.
Hello, I'm Demi. I'm the Artistic Director and one of the camp counselors for our summer workshops.
And we are providing these once a week just for like 20 minutes for parents, just so that you can ask us any questions about the classes that are going on. We can give you some ideas for follow-up activities that you can do from some of our classes. Demi, who is a certified yoga and meditation instructor, is going to lead us all through a little bit of self-care at the very end of each session to kind of leave us feeling good at the end of this. So with that said, we're just going to get started. And I just wanted, since this is week one, and some of you may or may not be as familiar with Imagination Theater right now, I wanted to let you know that we are a 54-year-old theater organization based in Chicago. We basically have been doing most of our work in schools up to this point, using participatory theater as a means to teach kids about social emotional issues, social emotional learning issues. So we cover all sorts of topics like teasing and bullying issues and empathy. And we have a program, one of our biggest programs is on sexual abuse prevention, which Demi leads. So we cover a wide variety of topics, and the format is always the same in the sense of using this participatory theater exercises, games, that kind of thing. And even though this summer in the camps, your students are doing a lot of theater activities, they still have that social emotional learning component to them. And each week they're going to be learning how, for example, this last week, they were learning how to show and express and recognize emotions through facial expressions and body language. And those are all key elements that we use in Someone Else's Shoes, which is our empathy program, because that is one of the key components to empathy, is teaching children how to recognize emotion in themselves and in others. So theater is a great tool to do that, and that's what we are hoping we're doing also throughout the classes. Those of you who have children in the pre-K through second grade group already know Demi, because Demi is one of the instructors for that group. If your student is in the third to sixth grade group, then Demi's new to you. So and I'm new to everybody for the most part, except for Christina, who's on with us, who knows me very well. So with that said, we're just going to kind of jump in. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a quick game that tip to play, and then Demi's going to lead us through some self-care stuff. So the game that I'm going to talk a little bit about today is one that was brought up in both of our classes this week. It's a game that we play with kids, usually in the beginning stages of classes or sessions, and it's called Become an Object. And the reason why we do that is it teaches kids a few different things. First of all, it gets them comfortable in using their bodies in a kind of a cool way that's like, getting out of their basic walking and whatnot. But they get to learn how to work together in groups when we do this in person. In the class, because everybody's kind of individual and we're all on this Zoom thing, we changed the game a little bit to make it work so that it was just an individual game. So Demi, you would name an object, say, and then the kids would become whatever that was using their bodies. I remember an umbrella, I think was one. No, that was when the other.
Yeah. Or an elephant.
An elephant, right. What's fun though, if you have more siblings at home or like is a family unit, if you want to teach how to work cooperatively together, you can do it as a team. And there's a lot of different variations you can do. The way that we usually teach it is we're each going to become a different part of the object. So if I say an elephant, and I'm the first one to go and I'm the trunk, someone else has to become, there you go, Demi, the ears.
The ears. If we were together, it would make more sense, but you get it.
Exactly. Ear, the trunk, and then somebody else can be the tail back here. And I always give them some sort of a time limit. So, we'll count down from like 10 so that to see if they can get into formation quickly. And as the game progresses, we can make it more difficult. So we might tell the kids, all right, we're going to do it this time, but no talking. So you have to get into formation, and without knowing what each other is doing. So instead of saying, I'm going to be the trunk, I'm going to be the ear, we have to just get there and see what it is. And then Demi, if she sees I stand like this, she might figure I'm the trunk. So she decides which part she's going to become. We've done it in teams. If you have that many people at home that you can play it with, you can divide into teams and see which team gets it fastest or best. And it's usually a game that I've played with pretty much every single age group, all the way from pre-K all the way through. I've even done it with adults.
Yeah.
And it's challenging, but it does teach how to work together in a cooperative manner. Wouldn't you say, Demi?
For sure. It's interesting too to add on, like Steve was saying, the layers. So shortening the time, or saying no talking and shortening the time, giving it a sense of urgency once your kids, and if you're a teacher, you can always play this with your students, but it gives them a sense of urgency and it makes the game more fun. So oftentimes, like Steve and I have taught this game, like he was saying, but you can introduce different rules also as days progress. Like you can start the game one day and just teach them the really basic way, and then you can come back to that game and say, hey, this time we're going to do it, but in 5 seconds, if last time was 10. And that's something we also do as the camp instructors, is we're going to continue on with a couple games that we see your students responding to and having fun with. And we're going to keep building, because theater games are just, Steve knows, they're like, there's like 100 different variations of them. So you can start with one game, and that game can lead up into so many other games or really interesting teaching or talking points. But Become an Object is just really fun. It's really silly. You can challenge them with, for example, like I've seen students respond well to become a helicopter, become a train. Yeah. Animals are always fun because there's 4 legs for most animals. So if you have enough people, they can all kind of find out where they belong. Or it's definitely one to play with the family.
Yeah, add noise, like get sound into it. Like when they, like, what would this sound like? If this is a train, show me how it moves, and see if they can actually do it that way.
Moving together cohesively.
Right. And what we really, when they, when we get to the teaching points of this game, and we talk about if we were successful or not in getting into formation in 10 seconds, we say, okay, what was, if we were successful, great, what worked? If we weren't, what could we have maybe done better to like get into formation in a shorter amount of time? It requires that we observe each other, that we listen to one another, that we adapt, so that if we had an idea that immediately we were going to become this part of the object and someone else stepped in before me, I have to be willing to change and go with something different, which is one of those key concepts, especially for little ones, I would say, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
and it's something we're doing over Zoom, so the students are at home by themselves, but it went very well, and they were all so cute and great and did a great job of exploring their body, and they were even using different levels, which is awesome to see. I think students, especially and younger students, are just willing to jump right in. When I do this with adults, sometimes there is confusion of embarrassment, or like, oh, I'm gonna look silly. But the little ones are just like all about it, jumping up, jumping down, using their whole body right away before I even cue them to go there. So it's definitely an easy enough game for all levels, and a fun game for anybody.
Great. So I don't know, Christina, you're the one. Do you have any questions about the activity or anything?
No, I'm good.
You're good? All right. Excellent. So if you still want to, I know you're still here, but have the camera off, so that's fine too.
No, I had to move locations. My computer was dying, so I just plugged in.
Gotcha. Excellent. So Demi's going to take us through, since we want to keep these fairly short and informative. We want to, everybody's busy. So we're coming on to only about 7 minutes here, and Demi's going to take us through each week an activity that is just for us, just for kind of self-care purposes. So do you want to take that, Demi?
Yes. So I was thinking, as we were creating these workshops, Steve and I were thinking about you, the parents at home, and among being a parent, you're so many other things. You're partners and teachers, and you work, and you juggle so many things, and your friends, and you have siblings, the list of roles that we play, it goes on and on and on. And so many times we forget to check in with ourselves. So today, for this first week, I wanted to do a self-compassion meditation, especially when things can be overwhelming. We feel like we have to give, but we also have to nourish and feed ourselves, because we are one half of every relationship that we're in. So when we are our best, healthiest selves, we can be a better partner, a better parent, a better spouse or sibling or whatever role you're playing. So let's start sitting nice and tall. If you're at home and you're laying down, you can absolutely stay laying down. This meditation works great lying down. And wherever you are, just find a nice tall spine. So if you're in a seat, kind of relax your shoulders. And then take a deep, slow, steady breath in. Open mouth, big release. One more just like that. Fill up, slow and steady, inhale. And then as you let go, big open mouth release, and see if you can soften. So take a couple more rounds of breath here on your own. Keeping your eyes closed, or if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just stare at something that's not moving. And relax through your jaw. Separate both rows of teeth. And then bring your hands to your heart center. Right here, the space on your chest. Sit up a little taller on your next breath in. Just feel the connection of your hand to your heart. And honor this connection of when we feel connected to ourselves, even just simply breathing can help us do that. We can find a little bit more peace in ourselves, and we can extend ourselves some compassion. Take one more slow breath in, and another breath out, giving yourself some love. Self-care is not selfish. It is necessary, and it is important to take care of ourselves, because you can't pour from an empty vessel. That's one of my favorite quotes. But we can't give unless we ourselves are nourished. So take just about 10 more seconds here on your own in silence, enjoying this time for you. Feeling your breath, feeling your heart, finding mind and body connection. And we'll take one breath to end. Start with an exhale this time. Empty out your lungs. And slow and steady, biggest breath yet. Fill all the way up to the top. Big open mouth exhale. Big release, let go of something. And give yourself one last bow forward. In yoga, we bow to each other and ourselves. It's just a way to honor yourself, to extend some gratitude to yourself. You do so much, parents. Don't lose sight of that. I know at times they're overwhelming, but even a quick check-in with your breath, these meditations you can do whenever. They're good for the morning, when you wake up, before bed. There's all sorts of different variations. I'll do different ones throughout our time together, but I hope you enjoy and keep making sure that you're doing something for yourself and staying healthy and staying sane through all of this going on.
Excellent. Thank you, Demi.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Every week we'll spend some time, also just answering any questions that you have. If you have any questions, if you can join us at 7, great. If you can't join us too, that's okay. We will send these out via email. And if you still have questions, you can certainly send them in and we'll address it with the group, at the beginning, at the top of each session. And we'll try to continue to inform you a little bit about what we're doing in class, what we're hoping to do, which leads me to next week. So Demi, do you want to announce the plan for both
Yeah.
classes, if you could, for
Yeah.
the 3rd to 6th grade and the pre-K to 2nd?
Yeah, so next week we've themed our classes. For the youngest group, pre-K to 2nd grade, my group will be having a pajama party. They were very excited, so you may already know this. I have asked all of the students to wear their pajamas, and if you forget, that's totally fine. We're gonna buffer in a minute or two so they can go get changed really quick. And to also bring a stuffed animal. And then the 3rd to 6th graders are going to bring an object.
Excellent. And also, I will send out a reminder email to everybody the day before class, just because I know sometimes days kind of blend together when we're all stuck at home. So I'll send out an email the day before just with all of that in it so that you remember that it's coming up the next day, and also have the Zoom link. Also this week in the email, I'm going to ask if for those of you who don't mind us actually taking some Zoom snapshots or some Zoom video.
Oh, right.
We really would love to be able to, we're going to be planning a second 4-week session starting immediately after this 4-week session's over. We'd love to have you join us for that as well, but we also want to advertise to some other people and show them how much fun we're having, and it would be great if we could do that. If you don't want that to be recorded, that is more than fine too. We'll probably just arrange it so that, like, when we do a recording, that your camera is off at that time, and so we don't see, your student at that time. So either way is fine, but I'll ask for permission in this week's email. That's when we plan to do that. All right. Cool.
Well, we're looking forward to continuing, and we're happy to hear about any feedback that your kids at home are giving you. If you want to share that at any point, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we would love to hear that. All right. Christina,
All right,
you're
well,
there.
thank you.
Right? You just got your video off, but you're good?
I'm good. Thank you.
Nice. Very good.
You're welcome.
Excellent. All right, well, we hope to see you next week and hope to see all the rest of you next week. Thank you for joining us, and have a fun week. We'll see you.
Enjoy the week. See you.